Hello, I'm Lix, and here you see me with a curious and playful sweetheart who has made friends with me. She sniffed me, pulled my hair, put her head on my leg, and looked at the civet coffee she was helping to make with an expert eye. She actually works on a civet and elephant coffee farm. We will find out how these cute animals produce the most delicious and expensive coffees in the world. I visited 3 separate farms, and to my great joy as an animal lover, none of them practiced intensive farming, which involves keeping civets in battery cages and force-feeding them coffee cherries. These fascinating small mammals with a cat-like appearance are native to the forests and jungles of Southeast Asia, in particular in Indonesia. I was surprised to learn that civets are very demanding coffee producers and that breeding them is a challenge. They give birth every 3 years and have about 2 to 3 babies. One civet coffee farmer told me that he has to take the babies away from their mothers when they are about 2 months old, as the mothers eat the food intended for the babies and are in danger of starving to death. Civets only eat red, ripe, sweet coffee beans and never green beans. They particularly like to eat the sweetest and tastiest cherries, and only for a few months of the year. I have tried their favorite coffee cherries and found them delicious and sweet. The animals prefer ripe coffee beans from fertile, mineral-rich soil. Besides the red ripe sweet coffee beans, they also eat fruit, vegetables and grass. Unlike elephants, civets are carnivores. Their diet includes insects, rodents and occasionally birds and bird eggs. The picky civet cats only eat around 20% of the ripe beans, and they only eat the Arabica, rarely the Robusta variety of coffee beans, as these are sweeter and less bitter than the latter. Smaller species have long, slender bodies and short legs. Asian palm civets usually weigh between 2 and 5 kilograms. Their tails vary in length, usually between 34 and 52 millimeters. It may come as a surprise that they only produce 1 kilogram of civet coffee per year. Some civets do not eat coffee beans at all or eventually stop eating them. Farmers who have tried to release them into the wild have subsequently found that these animals can no longer survive there. Therefore, ethical farmers continue to keep them and care for them, just like their other civets. How is the coffee made? The civet cats chew, peel and spit out the skin of the red ripe sweet coffee bean, eat only the sweet fruity layer and swallow the bean. The bean remains in the civet's body for about 12 hours. The enzymes in the civet's intestines break down some of the proteins and carbohydrates in the bean. The enzymes remove the outer shell of the bean, while the inside of the bean remains intact. Once the coffee beans have been excreted in the feces, they are dried in the sun. The selected beans are then thoroughly cleaned to remove all impurities before they are roasted. The entire process, from the consumption of the beans, fermentation, excretion, selection and packaging, can take several weeks. The fermentation process results in the development of distinct flavor compounds. The beans acquire flavors that are unparalleled in the coffee world. Kopi Luwak, also called weasel or civet coffee, is prized for its smoothness, complexity and low bitterness. Since the animals are not machines and the consumption of coffee beans is limited, but they need to be well cared for and only produce 1 kilo per year, this explains why civet coffee is so expensive. This coffee company speaks of a price of $1,300 per kilogram. Unfortunately, due to the high demand and high prices, There are many fraudulent or inferior Kopi Luwak products on the market. The forced feeding of civet cats or the use of beans from cage farming also affect the quality of the coffee. How can you avoid being cheated? Look for beans that come from wild civets or ethical farms. Choose brands that offer transparency about their production methods. Genuine Luwak coffee is often sold in specialty stores and online. There are also organizations that certify authentic Kopi Luwak to ensure ethical and sustainable practices. Now let's move on to the much larger but no less cute elephants and ask, how is elephant coffee, also known as Black Ivory Coffee, made? The process is very similar to that of the civet cats. Like the civets, they eat red ripe sweet coffee beans, as well as fruits such as jackfruit and guava, vegetables and grass. They also like to eat sugarcane. Elephants are just as picky as civets. They only eat ripe sweet coffee beans from fertile soil with plenty of minerals. The coffee beans are mixed with fruit. It takes about 72 pounds of raw coffee cherries to produce just 2 pounds of this exclusive coffee. Most beans either get chewed up or lost in the animal's excrement. Fermentation takes approximately 24 hours instead of about 12 hours as with the civets. After defecation, the feces must be dried immediately. Otherwise the beans will darken and change their flavor. After washing and peeling, the beans are roasted, whereby the temperature and duration of roasting are often adapted to the customer's wishes. Elephant coffee is characterized by notes of chocolate, malt, spices, and even a hint of grass. Unlike normal coffee, it does not have a burnt or bitter taste. It is the rarest and most expensive coffee in the world and is mainly sold in selected 5-star hotels. In Thailand, 8% of the total sales of the coffee is donated to the Golden Triangle Asian Elephant Foundation, an organization for rescued animals. So sipping on Black Ivory Coffee also supports a good cause. Mr. Dai, owner, farmer and trained veterinarian, pictured here, currently keeps 7 elephants and hundreds of civets on his farm. He told me that this group of elephants produce an impressive 1,000 kilograms of coffee per year. He emphasized that well-treated, healthy animals are very important for a good product. The elephants are cleaned 3 times a day, there is a special program for them, and the keepers have a good bond with the elephants. The animals have enough space to move around, explore and exercise. Civets and elephants have a completely different digestive system with different fermentation, resulting in different flavors. Elephant coffee has a more romantic, lighter and chocolate-like mild aroma, while weasel coffee has a stronger aroma, which is still milder than that of conventional coffee. Mr. Dai's farm is the only one in Vietnam that currently keeps a much larger civet cat species weighing 30 to 40 kilograms in addition to the small civet cat breed. They eat coffee cherries only 2 to 3 times a week during the short season when they are ripe, but eat 5 kilograms of fruit, vegetables and grass every day. They live in an environment specially reserved for them, with a shelter that provides warmth when it is cold outside and coolness when it is hot outside. They can move freely, climb, bathe and stay in the group, which they love to do. They were not afraid when I stroked them and even seemed to like it. Finally, I tried the exquisite elephant and civet coffees. In one establishment, the preparation of the civet coffee was almost reminiscent of a Japanese tea ceremony, an interesting, rather lengthy procedure in which the beans were roasted right in front of me on the table before I could taste the coffee. In this way, I received proof that it was real civet coffee. The whole process was just as exciting as tasting the civet coffee itself. I can only recommend you try it if you have the opportunity. It is an unforgettable experience for the eyes and the palate. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, click the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. See you soon in my next video.